Green Valley digital classes. Dear students, today we are going to discuss the different systems of psychology, their meaning and types. First of all, we will discuss the meaning of systems in psychology. As we know, psychology has a long past, but short history. Before the establishment of psychology as an independent experimental science in 1879, psychology was considered as a part of philosophy. As an independent discipline, psychology is thus about 120 years old. In such short period of time, many changes have taken place. In fact, diverse opinions exist about its subject matter and methods of investigation. In such a short period, psychology began to develop through what was called system or schools of psychology. And now, we will discuss the meaning of system in psychology. After 1879 and during the beginning of the present century, many groups of people came forward to express more or less similar viewpoints regarding the subject matter of psychology and its method of investigation. So, we can say that a system or school means a group of associated psychologists who hold more or less similar ideas or viewpoints towards the subject matter of psychology and its method of investigation, and at the same time they oppose the viewpoints of the others. School of psychology is different from system of psychology. In school of psychology, we pay attention to a group of associated psychologists. It is called a school of psychology. And when we say system of psychology, here we pay attention to a group of ideas brought together to form a coherent set of beliefs about psychology. It is called a system. Such ideas gradually paved the way for having a group of associated psychologists. Types of system in psychology. The important systems of psychology are as under: Structuralism, Functionalism, Behaviourism, and the Psychoanalysis. Each system emphasizes its own outlook towards how psychology should proceed. In fact, these schools represent early battles over what psychology should study. Now we will discuss these schools in detail. The first school of psychology is the Structuralism. In 1879, Wilhelm Wundt established the first formal laboratory for research in psychology at the University of Leipzig, Germany. And it was because of this and many other contributions that Wundt is often described as the father of experimental psychology. Structuralism as a system was founded by Edward Redfold Titchener, who was William Wundt's student in America. Titchener had learned about psychology at Leipzig, Germany under Wundt. Wundt's another student, G. Stanley Hall, was influential in bringing psychology to the United States. He founded the first laboratory of psychology at Johns Hopkins in 1883. So, in this sense, Wundt has been regarded as the originator of the system and Titchener is regarded as the propagator of the system. Like Wundt, Titchener was also determined to establish psychology as a pure and perfect science. In this regard, he established a laboratory at Cornell in America to develop structural school of psychology. He based his work and research on the pattern of Wundt. Wundt published a number of books on psychology and thus helped in the enrichment of psychology as a science. In fact, it is Titchener who owes the credit of establishing Wundt's concept of psychology in USA. Structuralism defined psychology as the study of conscious experience, which through the method of introspection can be analyzed into its three basic elements, that is, sensations, feelings, and images. Introspection is a method in which trained individuals report in detail on their conscious experiences in response to specific stimuli that are presented to them under carefully controlled conditions. According to Titchener, mind is the sum total of human experience, and the subject matter of psychology is conscious experience. Conscious experience cannot be verified by others, but can only be experienced and narrated by the experiencing person. The procedure through which one would narrate his experiences he named as introspective method. This method received wide attention during his period. Titchener was aware of the limitation of defining psychology as the science of conscious experience, that it is a personal affair and cannot be observed by mere introspection. That's why he stressed upon the use of carefully applied trained introspection to study conscious experience. More specifically, the what, how, and why of human experience. In spite of this, he faced criticism from all quarters: behaviorists, Freudians, Functionalists, for the limitation of psychology as the science of conscious experience. The next school of psychology is functionalism. Functionalism as a system was founded by William James, one of the greatest American psychologists. However, as a school, functionalism was founded by John Dewey and James Engel at the University of Chicago and reached the peak of the prominence with Harvey A. Carr. It may be said that John Dewey started functionalism as a school. James Engel fostered it, and Harvey Carr brought it up to its fruition. Functionalism was strongly influenced by Darwin's theory of natural selection. Its proponents argue that since consciousness is a uniquely human characteristic, it must serve important functions for us. Otherwise, it would never have evolved. With this thought in mind, James and other functionalists focused on understanding the functions of consciousness, how it helps human beings cope up with the challenging and changing world around them. Functional School of Psychology tried to establish the fact that consciousness contributed to the survival of the organism by helping him to learn. The functional group of psychologists like William James, John Dewey, and Engel thus attempted to study consciousness from the standpoints that are useful to the human beings. Instead of the structure of consciousness, they wanted to study the functioning of human mind. According to functionalism, psychology is the study of mental activity or adaptive behavior, and its method is that of introspection as well as observation. Functional psychologists could not succeed in explaining what consciousness is or what consciousness does. Behaviorism. Behaviorism was founded by J.B. Watson in 1930. Behaviorism developed as a reaction to the controversy between structuralism and functionalism. Watson argued passionately for the view that psychology should focus not on conscious or experience but on behavior, actions that can be observed and measured. Watson assumed that if psychology at all is to establish itself as a science, it should avoid philosophical and speculative concepts like consciousness, mind, feeling, etc., and should focus itself in study over behavior objectively. According to behaviorism, psychology is the science of behavior and not of conscious experience. He further emphasizes that the quantitative experimental techniques used in other exact sciences like physics and chemistry can also be used in psychology. Therefore, the method of psychology should purely be objective and experimental. That's why it rejected introspection as a method of psychology. He advocated the SR approach towards psychology instead of SOR approach. He states that any behavior, whether simple or complex, occurs due to habit. Complex behaviors are nothing but a chain of habits connected with each other. He was a strong supporter of the role of environment in human personality. He suggested that by manipulating the environment, any healthy human baby can be converted to any personality. He totally rejected the role of biological factors in the development of human personality. This extreme and one-sided belief brought strong criticism. He fully neglected the organism as the intervening variable which nevertheless greatly contributed to the understanding of human behavior, its control and prediction. His definition of psychology was thus partial, restricted and one-sided. He was therefore criticized on the grounds that it was not adequate to explain the scope, aim and subject matter of psychology in the way he did. Neither behaviorism nor consciousness alone, neither introspection nor experimental method alone is optimum and suitable for explaining the what, how and why of psychology. Now we will discuss the last and the most important school of psychology, which is the psychoanalysis. As we know that this school was founded by Sigmund Freud, a famous figure in the history of psychology. Psychoanalysis as a school arose in a very different manner from other schools. While other schools sprang up in an academic circle, psychoanalysis sprang up in medical and clinical tradition. Sigmund Freud also contributed to the study and treatment of abnormal behavior. He developed a school of psychology which revolved around the unconscious part of the mind, because he gave a very important place to unconscious part of the mind in the growth and development of human personality. According to this school, psychology is mainly concerned with the study of unconscious and sexual motivation, which are manifested through dreams, psychopathology of everyday life, free association, etc. Freud's system of psychology includes both the normals as well as the abnormals. His system was considered so useful that all eyes were set on his system and the importance of other systems diminished, so much that they were pushed to the background. Freud's discovery that our unconscious mind includes those experiences which were repressive because of their being painful and unpleasant or contrary to the social norms had tremendous truth. The view of Freud that the unconscious is the storehouse of instinctual impulses, sexual desires, repressive feelings brought criticisms from several quarters. But his work are considered as outstanding in the field of clinical psychology. Psychoanalysis as a method of treatment developed by Freud is universally applied for the treatment of neurosis. So, these were some important points about psychoanalysis. Dear students, after World War II, various older and tightly organized systems of psychology like Structuralism, Functionalism, Behaviourism, Gestalt school were becoming too limited to deal with all the facts that were emerging, and by 1980s they had disappeared from practical usage. In fact, many more people entered the field of psychology, they did experiments and developed various theories. As a consequence, the growth of knowledge became tremendous. Today, one can still think within a framework that may be called as structuralistic, behavioristic, or psychoanalytic. So, this was all about the meaning and types of systems in psychology. Students, hope you understand it very well. Thank you. Have a nice day.